me ask you something. When did motherhood become something we're supposed to survive instead of something we're allowed to enjoy? Because here's the truth no one says out loud. You can love your kids and feel overwhelmed. You can be grateful and want more. And happiness, it doesn't disappear when you become a mother, but it does change. And nobody hands you the manual. Today on Relocate to Happiness, we're having a real, honest, no-filter conversation about happiness and motherhood, what it looks like, what gets in the way, and how women can stop postponing their joy for some day. My guest today is Tania Timkova, a life and leadership coach, happiness trainer, and facilitator, mom of one, lover of life. This episode is for every mother who's ever asked herself, is this it? And for every woman who's ready to choose happiness without guilt. Tania, welcome. I'm so grateful and happy to have you here today.
I'm also happy to be here. Finally we are doing this.
Finally, exactly. Especially, it's not common sense to be here. At least not for me. Today was another Mother Day.
Another Mother Day, yeah.
Yes,
a bumpy road.
But yeah, exactly. But here I am today, and I'm not taking it for granted. And I want to start with the end, and I want to, if I would ask you now, if the listeners are listening to us now and they're taking everything to heart, everything that you're gonna share today, what they're gonna get out of it? How will their lives change?
Good question.
Straight,
to the point. We are talking about motherhood and happiness, and if there is one thing that I would love, one message that I would love to deliver and share from my lived experience, right? I would say, speaking to any mother, give yourself space to navigate this change, which is motherhood, and to navigate it in the soft way with self-compassion, and don't be afraid of this change. Don't be afraid of the identity shifts and everything that it brings, because it is there for that. And it's actually a good thing, even if at the beginning it might feel a little bit bumpy. Yeah,
you threw a few bombs here. Identity change, a lot of things. I'm looking forward, and I'm going to take some notes here for myself to ask you. But you mentioned happiness and motherhood, and this is the theme of our podcast today. And I want to ask you about happiness. What does happiness mean to you today as a mother, comparing to before? How was it before?
How was it before? I think only becoming a mother, I started asking myself a question: what is happiness? Does it really mean to me? Together with many other questions. Also, maybe because my motherhood experience was going hand in hand with studying at HSA, right? The
Happiness
Studies Academy, right? That we both graduated from, and it was a big, beautiful step and a beautiful change. How I see happiness now and motherhood, what motherhood taught me is that happiness is just being good with who I am at this stage of life, and trying to be present and enjoy this as much as I can, because everything changes, right? Just being good where I am now with what I have, with who I am. And there are many layers to that, right? Like knowing who I am, understanding who I am now, and where am I, and what am I even doing?
Exactly. Yeah. What am I even doing? What do you mean when you say everything changes? Walk me through, because you were talking, I have like the new book coming now, just launched.
Congratulations.
And thank you. So one of the mistakes there is I thought that everything will be the same. And I talk about the fact, after I gave birth, I just thought that, I have like 2 little kids, and I was doing my master's degree and I was doing everything. And of course, I just thought that I have like 2 kids, but then everything literally changed, from You're already crying?
I'm already crying.
Oh my, what have I said?
No, yeah, you're just speaking the truth. Okay, keep on going.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. So I just everything, like all my priorities changed, all my identity, everything changed, and the way that I've seen the world change. So I think I touched some very sensitive.
Yeah, well, it's sensitive, but I think it's sensitive for every woman who has gone through it, and it's sensitive slash beautiful because it's a beautiful teacher if we take it as a teacher. So yeah, like when you said, by the way, like about the book, when you said 99 mistakes I made as a mother, and I straight away asked myself, what would be my 99 mistakes? What was my one mistake? And
So I want to hear about that too. But tell me, so when you said like everything changed, what do you mean by that? Yeah.
Yeah, this we can frame it that this was one mistake, one lesson that I took from the motherhood experience. What has changed? And what was the mistake? What I consider a mistake, although, mistake. What I consider my biggest lesson. I thought, as you said, that my identity will stay the same. And just before I had a baby, someone else, my circle had a baby. And he said a phrase, oh, babies are so easy. His baby was like 3 or 4 months old. Something like that. Babies are so easy. It's like an addition. You just, it's an accessory. You take him wherever you go. And I thought, oh, wow, that sounds so fun. It's cute. A baby is an accessory. Of course,
Who told you? Who was lying? Who said that?
Obviously, I knew that the baby was not an accessory, but it somehow stayed in my mind. Like, I can actually, literally have the baby as an addition to everything that I was doing and just do everything that I was doing with a baby.
Mm-hmm. No.
No.
Yeah.
This was, it was an illusion that I believed in, but my mistake was not letting go of this illusion very early. I have been fighting for almost 1.5 years at least, but especially for the first year, I've been fighting with the world, with myself, with the change. I was choosing not to see the change, not to acknowledge it. And I couldn't accept the fact that my identity
was shifting.
And not only that, just a little bit of context. My baby was born in the 2nd month of lockdown, 2020.
Perfect timing, Tania.
COVID baby.
Yeah.
What
COVID
happened?
baby.
COVID
Poor
baby. So what
so
happened?
the accessory, COVID baby, what else? Like, poor Marcus.
I call him Little Buddha, and he's my biggest teacher in life. And motherhood has been my biggest growth experience. So yeah, and I'm not using these beautiful words that I don't want to sound like a clickbait, whatever, but it's true. It's the way I lived it, and it's the way I see it now, almost 6 years after.
It took you some time.
It took me some time. Now I see it as a very beautiful sacral and a spiritual experience and a growth path. But back then it was a scary experience. So let's start with the fact that he was born during COVID. He was a desired baby, but he was not planned baby. So we talked with my partner. We talked about having a baby maybe in a couple of years. And I was addressing some problems to my doctor. And then she said, yeah, you're probably never gonna get pregnant without any help. So I thought, I'm good to go. 3 months after I was pregnant. It was a big shock. It was a big change. I thought that I was not ready. I thought, the conditions are not right, not true. And then COVID hit. Nobody expected that. COVID hits. The business that we've been working on for 4 years stops in one day, right? So everything comes to zero. I used to be a destination wedding photographer. I used to travel the world photographing weddings. And this was my primary project. I had 3 other projects, but this was my main thing. And I wake up, I'm 8 months pregnant, COVID hits. I wake up and I have 11 cancellations for the entire year. So basically my entire yearly income is gone. COVID. My partner has just launched a startup. So
Whoa.
Just imagine like financial stress, emotional stress of not having my family with me. I lived in the Netherlands. I'm from Ukraine. My family is back there. I've been living abroad for many years, but still I would expect them. They were planning to come when the baby is born. They were planning to come and help. nobody is coming, the borders are closed. We are in
No
COVID.
flights. Yeah,
No flights, like lockdown, panic, stress. Nobody knows what's happening. My baby is born, Marcus. His name is Marcus. He is born, and I am left with him. And it's my first time experience. I don't know what to do, and I kind of a new identity. But the thing is that back then I was fighting very hard because actually, as you see, right, what I'm describing, it's coming back to zero. My business stopped. My work is very unclear. I am kind of on a maternity leave, but I don't have a lot of governmental support because I'm self-employed. So basically, I have a baby. I don't have anything else. I don't have this, stepping stones. And I was used to, as many women, right? I now work with women dealing with the same things. But I used to think that my identity is very much connected with what I do and how well I do it, right?
Of course,
So, of course, my identity, I'm a photographer, I am a founder, I am an entrepreneur, I do marketing for the startup, right? So this is my identity. And now I'm just a mother. And I come from an Eastern European country where on one hand, this is considered to be the most important role in the life of every woman.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? You feel me, right? We're quite close in that.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, women, there are so many unrealistic expectations from women that they would be a mother, but they also would have a career. They would also be a great, like everything else would remain in balance.
Yeah.
And now
the moms that want it all, what I call,
yeah, the moms that want it all. And now I realize, I can have it, I can want it all, and I can have it all, but it all comes at its own time.
Yeah.
And this time is different for every woman. And back then, my identity is only mother because everything else, due to COVID, due to other circumstances, is not there anymore. And I'm like, who am I? What am I doing? And I couldn't accept, for a long time, that I am just the mother because it felt that it's not enough. It felt that I failed, that if I just go and say, I'm just a mother. I don't have a job, I don't have anything else, I'm just a mother. It felt deep inside that it's not enough. Like right now, I would love to, come and hug that Tania 6 years ago and say like, it's enough. It's more than enough. You are enough. And what can be even more profound and more... as I say now, like sacred than just being a mother.
That's true.
It's right. Like I see tears in your eyes now.
Is that makeup? I know. I'm fighting back.
Yeah.
No, I hear you and I feel you, and thank you for sharing. I completely understand you because it happened not with the same circumstances, not with the COVID, but I also had I had a very difficult pregnancy, and then I gave birth, and just 3 months after I went back to school, and I remember I was traveling after, and I was just saying I'm on maternity leave, and I was enjoying, but I also had that. I don't know how to call it, but like the need to prove the others that I can. I have the kids, but I'm still doing other stuff. And I remember my family was. I would say a bit against it because we're like, why do you need the MBA now? Like, why you just stop it. On the other hand, I really wanted to finish because I lost like half a year, and then I moved with another cohort, and it was very important for me to go and to finish. And it was, it was not only for me, but was like one day I would just tell the girls that I was with them pregnant and I went to school, and then also they were little, and I finished the program, and they would look up to me for this thing, But what was I trying to prove, like who to whom,
To whom? Yeah, this is a powerful question. To whom are you trying to prove this? Exactly.
Yeah. Instead of like enjoying and taking it easy, and how you say it's like a privilege, and it's something so sacred, and not everybody has the privilege also to give birth and to have kids and to do that.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, there is nothing wrong with wanting it all, right? It's okay, and it's perfect, and it's fine. And I'm also at the same time, it's nothing wrong with just wanting to be a mother. It's absolutely nothing wrong. I just don't want to sound like someone who says, being mother is not enough.
Yeah.
This is just my lived experience. This is how I felt it back then.
Yeah.
But I fully respect every single choice. But back then, I didn't give myself enough self-compassion. It was my biggest mistake. I didn't give myself compassion to see, okay, look at your circumstances now. Like, what can you focus? What is the most important thing that you want to focus now? You can focus now. And back then I didn't know how to ask these questions because I was so lost, and I was really trying to find using like old patterns. I was just trying to find something to
Something no, like to hang
grab
up.
hand. Yeah, like I remember my son was 5 weeks pregnant, and I still had a wedding because like almost everything got canceled, but there were still some windows of opportunity. So I had to travel to Belgium to photograph this wedding. And obviously when I got pregnant, everything, the weddings, they usually booked years before, so it was not something that I could cancel, right? So I had to do it with him, and I had a family support. So my mother-in-law, my husband, we all went together, and I was 5 weeks pregnant, and I am 10 hours photographing the wedding, like with heavy equipment, still not recovering fully 5 weeks after giving birth. I was
5
lucky.
weeks after give birth, you went for the shooting.
Yes, I was at the wedding. 10 hours. It was physically exhausting. It was hard. But back then I was so happy because I was finally doing something that I have control over. I know how to do well, because having a newborn baby, not knowing, like, why is he crying? How can I help? Always having, this ache in your heart, like, oh my gosh, am I doing it right? And here, it was my zone of control. I could do it. And I'm struggling physically, but I was so happy that day because I could get back to my old identity, and I felt like, everything is back
to normal, exactly.
Yeah.
But you're talking, I'm thinking like being in control of like crazy brides on the wedding day. It doesn't, it sounds like very challenging to me.
Yeah, but I think I'm good in that, and I was good in that. So yeah, it felt much more natural because I was 5 weeks into the motherhood. I didn't know what I was doing. Like I'm still learning, right? So I was looking for this identity old things that I could because I couldn't say that I'm just a mother. It took me time just to be able to say that I'm just a mother, and it's enough for me. It took me a lot of inner work, a lot of, positive psychology studies, and a lot of self-agency. The next
and
thing
I think it's a lot of courage also, like to be like to have a lot of self-confidence to say, I'm just a mom, and it's okay for now, this is what I'm doing,
Honestly, it never happened to me that I was just a mom, right? So I have never stopped. I've been, transitioning from role to role. And on the one hand, I did not allow myself to just be a mom. On the other hand, the moment when I was supposed to allow myself, right? Like then the first year, for example, there is a reason why in many cultures it's just 1 year, right? 1 year of maternity leave, whatever. Yeah. But I felt, I didn't do it in the first year. I think I was the most busiest and anxious and not present here. I was present with my kid because of COVID, and we were, together, and also because he only napped in my arms, right? So I was carrying him for 6 months, like nonstop. So basically, we were very connected. We're still very connected, but I was not present in my head. I was very anxious, and it brought me to it was another element. I also went into burnout because at the same time I had 3 projects rolling. I was trying to do things together, keeping him as an accessory. I was full-time with him. I had almost zero support, and at the same time during his naps at night I was working. So it was crazy, right? It was crazy, and I created it for myself.
Of course,
yes, there were obligations, like also financial constraints, COVID and everything, but we were in a better position than many people who would really need to do it, right? So it was not as essential as I made myself believe. So this was a big thing, and even I can't say that I regret, but it was a big learning experience, and I miss this moments of the first weeks, first months. I miss the moments because I know that those moments would have taught me presence. And now, already having learned it, having practiced it for years, I feel that my early motherhood experience would have been much more pleasant, much less anxious. So I sometimes even think like, wow, I wish I could have gotten back there, just to be there, because I remember they'd say, Oh, he wouldn't nap in the stroller, for example, or outside. Just lay down with him or nap with him. I was like, I cannot lay down. I need to do things.
Wow,
I need
wow,
to
yeah.
do things.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, all this search, right, the search of my new identity, which was not only based on the motherhood, it brought me to very beautiful things. I want to reframe it. So I learned a lesson, and it made me who I am now. So I redefined my career. I created a beautiful project for mothers as well, which was also my second baby, like an album, mindfulness album for mothers, which is on hold. It's another thing. I had to put it on hold because I went into burnout. But I created this product. I printed this album. It was my second baby that was born when Marcus was 1.5 years old. And I made it because I needed some safe space to process the emotions, the
So you
doubts.
work with it, and then like you.
Yeah, it's like a mindfulness journal / a milestone journal where the woman can really write down things that she wants to, not the ones that you buy in the shop, which is usually focused on the child, like what is his first tooth, his first step, his first word. But it was mostly focused on the mother and her emotions, because another layer of motherhood, let's talk about it, about expectations, about the happy mother and the motherhood, and the motherhood is a generally happy experience, which is it, but it also kind of constrains many women to think that I'm not allowed to say that I'm unhappy, or I'm not allowed to say that I'm struggling, because how come?
Yeah, what's going on? I wanted to ask you. You mentioned a few things, and I want to stop you for a second. I want to go back to the burnout, like maternal burnout. But before that, I want to talk about this. How would you call it? Like the phenomenon of the happy mom, and how much you think that like society is gaslighting moms in general when they're, you should be grateful, and you should. Think about like, oh, other people have it more harder. I shouldn't complain. I shouldn't. How much of this gaslighting actually leads to burnout?
I think a lot. I think it's a direct correlation, right? Because these are the expectations. Even if we don't believe it ourselves, or for example, our mothers didn't teach us that, but the society, from we hear it. It's beautiful marketing, right? It's like toxic positivity that is everywhere, which is we absolutely don't support. And we know, right? Like when we are talking about happiness in general and the pillars of happiness, the foundations. One of the core pillars of happiness from the scientific point of view that is proven, right, is emotional element. It's allowing ourselves to be humans, to feel all the emotions.
Yeah, permission to human, and of course accepting your emotions.
Accepting, and I had problems accepting my emotions because I was lucky as I had a smooth pregnancy. I had a smooth birth. I didn't have like a traumatic birth. I was really lucky.
Is there anything like as a smooth birth?
Well, I honestly it was of course it was not the super pleasant experience, but
no, I'm just asking. Yeah,
it was relatively easy and natural birth for me, and
easy natural birth. Okay.
This
is the first time. Okay.
Yeah, well, yes, you see this happens, and so I was lucky. He is healthy. I am healthy, but. The expectation, right? So I could still feel down. I was unsure. I was lost. I felt extremely lonely. It was COVID. My family was not there. All my friends, like my closest friends, could not come and visit, right? They were abroad. The friends that I had there, somehow, once I got a child, if they didn't have a child, I felt the distance. They didn't know, right? Like, oh, my social life changed, right? I don't go out at night now. So how do we do it? And plus COVID. So it was all so messy. I felt a lot of loneliness, but I wouldn't acknowledge it. I would never complain. I would never share it, because I honestly felt like first of all, I had a healthy baby, like out of nowhere. The doctor told me that I would need to do some effort. No effort. The baby just came. I had a good pregnancy, good experience, everything. Like I have a roof over my head, I have food, I have a very supportive partner. why I complain? Why am I lonely?
What do you have to complain about?
What do I have to complain about, right? What's happening? Are you?
What's your problem?
What's your problem? What's your problem?
Instead of saying thank you, you were like you were just ungrateful.
Yes. Yeah. What's your problem? So basically, even from my closest friends, to be honest, I've been hiding my feelings for a long time. And I remember years after, I think 2 or 3 years after Marcus was born, I actually explored it in therapy with my therapist, and I finally came to terms with the fact that I was very lonely, that I was very sad, I was very upset, and I finally could relieve those emotions and experiences that were stuck in my body for years because I was not allowing myself to talk. If I call my family, right, my Ukrainian family, they would be supportive, but they would never understand. Why am I complaining? Like, women are praying to become mothers, and you're a mother, you have a child, so be grateful, please, right? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean you have ambitions? What do you mean you are afraid that you will not be able to, get back to your self-realization? What self-realization? You have a child. What other realization do you need in life, right?
Yeah. And then the war started in Ukraine, right? Like right after.
And then the war starts in Ukraine, right? And I'm in the middle of burnout, and it was not maternal burnout. You asked me about it. I mean, obviously the exhaustion and the motherhood experience was a part of it, but the burnout happened because of I was trying to do it all not in the right moment. So I was like pushing hard the moments when it was not really necessary. And again, coming back to the identity crisis, right? I was going through identity crisis, but I was still trying to pretend that everything is the same, everything remains the same, but I just now have a child, right? So I can work at the same speed, I can work at the same power and everything. So then I went into burnout, and the war started. So my life has been a bit messy in the last years. But again, I take it as a big learning experience because once I get a child, once I get Marcus, as we just discussed with you, right? Like that motherhood is the best time management trainer, right? So
it's true, yeah.
It's absolutely true. And then, okay, I feel now as never before, I feel how little time we actually have and how little quality time we have. So I always ask myself questions. How do I want to spend this time? What do I want to dedicate it to? And okay, how can I use my productive hours, for example, when he is at school? Can I use them for my self-realization, my growth, my business? And how can I make the other time that like other moments when I'm with him, how can I be present then? Because I don't want to be in my head or working when he's with me, how can I
to juggle
those things?
I have this thing, I get it, like at the hours, they come back at home like usually at 4 or 5 p.m. And I always, I'm like, okay, I will just put the phone on the side. I won't answer the phone. I will be with them. I kid you not, I get like so many messages. Now, I don't have like notifications on my phone. I don't look for half an hour on the phone. Then I see like 5 messages like, oh my God, I have to focus. Like okay, let me answer. So then I feel guilty for answering the messages, guilty for not being with them. Also, if I'm with them and then I don't answer, then I'm, I have like people like, so it just, this game of how do you do that?
Guilt and shame and motherhood guilt and everything in between, of course. That's why you asked me in the beginning, right? What would you like to leave here? And this is what I learned, just self-compassion and presence. It's really accepting that this is the stage of life and it will change. And a stage of life is very messy. And there will be another stage which is also messy. Like it's just the part of life. So basically, but the presence, right? Also, what we learned at Happiness Studies Academy, right? The first principle, the spiritual principle, is all about presence. It's all there to teach us presence, because we only have this moment. And when we remind ourselves about it, when we get there, when we know how we can be present, right? Because, the presence for me is different from the presence for you.
Yeah, sure.
But when we learn to be present, then everything becomes much easier, I think, and we can really enjoy it, and we can really feel genuinely happier and better with who we are.
Yeah, but, it's not easy, especially in the era of multitasking.
No.
And like so many things happening, and I think it's just an art of being present today, nowadays.
Yeah. But motherhood is a catalyst, I think. For me, it was a catalyst. So it made me finally find answers to the questions that I've been asking myself before motherhood. Like, for example, what is my next step in my career? Because I loved wedding photography deeply. I still love it. I still do it from time to time. But the way I lived before, I would not be able to combine with the way I want to live my life with a baby, with a child, with a young child, right? Yeah, I can still have him at home with my partner and travel every weekend, but I don't want to. I want to have those limited weekends that we have. I want to have it for my family, right? I want to be present. So I was asking myself before I became a mother, like, okay, what's next? What is my next step? But it's very easy to be in your comfort zone. I was doing the job that I loved a lot. I was being paid nice money for that. I traveled the world. I met amazing people. Like, how can I just say no to that? And then the child was born and COVID hit. So everything was shaky. So I started thinking, okay, what my next step? What do I really love? Well, how can I release my potential, right? What do I want to bring to the world? So what is my purpose? All these questions that I would ask myself before, but I was like, nah, it's not the moment to find answers. And now it was a catalyst, like, no, you have to find answers now. Because this is your...
You have nowhere to escape.
Yes, nowhere to escape. This is your platform to discover it, to explore it. And as you said, like, how do I want my kid, when he grows up, I want him to look at me, and what do I want him to see? A happy mother, or the mother who has regrets about her choices, right? And I want him to see a role model of a woman with an agency, the woman who chooses for herself, who is confident, who is just building something, designing something. So this brought me to Happiness Studies Academy, to getting the positive psychology certification, to becoming a coach, getting accreditation, and really building, finding my company and building things there, because I realized that my purpose is to work with people in the field of happiness, which I used to do as a photographer, but from a different perspective.
Lovely.
And it also thanks to motherhood, thanks to this period when I realized that I have limited time, because I want to be present with my child, but the rest of the time, the moments when I'm not with him, I want to spend them. I want to invest them in building something purposeful, so which will be also bigger than me, bigger than us. And that I'm very grateful for the motherhood experience, for that as well, because I don't know how long I would be still,
Juggling
or
between like going around the world and like taking photographers.
And I had other projects, I had other businesses which I also liked doing, or I was a part of someone else's projects, but I couldn't say no. I didn't have boundaries. I'm very curious, and still it's very difficult for me to say no to things. But having a child, now I know, okay, I have this amount of time and I have these goals. Right? Again, we discussed it today with you. Like, how do I make choices? How do I make right choices for myself? Like, I can't say yes to everything, because I'm here. And
One person,
I was in a burnout. I know how it feels. I don't want to get there. So
I have a question on the burnout. Before that, I just want to... I don't want to interrupt you, and you're touching a lot of ideas, and but I just want to say, like, also when I remember, and I know that it's something very common, that also when I was really when I was making those choices and I was taking those decisions, I would still feel guilty that, so if I work, I feel guilty that I'm not with a kid. If I'm with a kid, I feel guilty because I'm not actually doing anything except for being with a kid. If I'm doing, like, I go to the point where the kids, when they were very young, the kids thought that the nanny was their mom. So there's always like that guilt and shame, and no matter what you're doing, you are like the guilty one. So how do you know what to do? So this is one. The other one was about burnout, and I want to ask you, you said it was not maternal burnout, and burnout is a word that, we hear a lot lately, and it's like very trendy, and, but I just wonder, like, if maternal burnout, is it like an individual problem, or is it a systematic one? Because the society pushes us like to do this. And what do you think?
What I see is that women burn out a lot. I don't have the statistics either, like women and how many of those women who burn out are mothers. I actually need to look into it. It might give me an idea. But I think that it's somehow it feels like it's easier for women if we're talking about burnout, right? What happens, like the chemistry on the brain and how what changes. I think it's much easier for women to burn out because it's much harder to set the boundaries, and there is always this guilt that you're talking about. And if we are talking about mothers especially, it's don't get me wrong, but right, women who are listening to us are not mothers, but there is a lot of mental load that mothers carry. That it's just an additional mental load because you are always responsible for at least one other person, and it adds to the experience. Let's say it just drains a lot of energy. So I think yes, I think the answer to your question is yes. I believe that there are a lot of expectations and the societal, shame and expectations, right?
Yeah.
Like
And not to mention social media, that it just like portrays the perfect moms. They're doing everything. And
absolutely, there's a lot of tension and a lot of conditioning, and So again, getting back to you asked me about guilt, right? I feel you. I feel it's always. I think it's very human, and but it always brings me back to the foundations of who I am, of like knowing who I am, getting back there. Just this is the topic that I work. It's a core topic of my coaching work.
Yeah,
with
I wanted
women.
to ask you. Yeah. You mentioned the coaching and the from the point of view of the positive psychologist. What do you tell moms or with mental load or people people that are about to burn out? How do you coach them? What do you train them to do?
I don't. Yeah, I help them. I would say. I would say not. I don't really train them, but I support them in understanding that they need to, before they make a next step, before they set any goal, right? And they need to understand who they are. And it sounds like, oh yeah, I know who I am. But we are changing, and we go through different seasons of life, right? And the motherhood is a big transition. It's a different season from any other thing. So we change, even if we fight this change, like I was trying to do, like you were trying to do, right? All of us, I think, but we are still changing. So it's very important to actualize in this point of life. Where am I? Who am I? What do I really believe in? What are my values? What do I really value? Which values are really the most important at this stage of life? Because the core values stay with us throughout the life, but they can change the priority, right? So what is really important for me now? What do I have to pay attention to? What are my strengths, right? Positive psychology here. What are my strengths? How can I build everything that I'm doing on my strengths, on who I am? What is my purpose in motherhood, in my life, in my work? What do I want to bring to the world? What do I want to bring to the table, right? How do I want to be there for my child? So all these existential questions, let's say, right? It's very important to start with this foundation. So I always start with that, just really a better understanding of self at this stage. And then on top of that, we can build everything else. We can build systems. We can build the next steps and goals, set goals, achieve things, right? But if we don't understand ourselves at this moment, if we are not honest with ourselves, if we don't understand our energy, where it comes from, where we can replenish it, right? Where we drain it, if we don't understand what makes us happy, what can be our support, right? What we don't understand what is the best way for us to communicate our needs, right? If we don't know our boundaries, how can we build, right? And this is also something that leads us to the burnout. If we are talking like all these aspects that I'm talking about, right? That's why I mentioned burnout a lot. This can also bring us, not knowing it, not acting on that, brings us to burnout as well, because we just going with the flow and taking too much, and not having the boundaries, not knowing when to say no or how to say no.
Yeah. It reminds me, and you mentioned now burnout and not having clarity. I recently, like a couple of weeks ago, I went to a networking event in Lisbon for women, and we had to, we had twice 2 tables of 6 people, and we had to introduce ourselves. Everybody has to speak about themselves like for 10 minutes. And the first time I spoke about myself, I was the first one speaking about myself. And I managed somehow in 10 minutes to give a lot of information. And then I was listening to the other women. And I think I wouldn't say 5 out of 6, because it was the 6 I was, let's say at least 4 for each table. We're talking about leaving like moving to Lisbon, their dream and their goal was to be calm, to get like the life work balance, you know. And also they were like, oh, you know, I'm just like thinking about what I'm going to do. I'm just going through a phase of like not having any plan. And I was sitting there and I was like, what do you mean? You have like, and it was like, okay, at least I'm in a better position because I do have like this clarity. I know I want to go. I have my goals all set up, but everything came out from like, I'm telling you, like 4 out of 6, they were so burnout. They've been like through such an intense lifestyle from London, from the States, from all over the world, you know, like from different places, and coming to Lisbon to look for calm, for balance, for everything. And I was like, what? This is your dream, to be calm in life? Like, what do you mean to be calm in life, you know? So I was very judgmental, I admit. But what I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of people that they get, you know, they and they were not, I think there were, none of them were moms, or maybe one of them was moms. But people, you know, they reach the bottom of the, how do you say that? They get very stressed, very burnout. And then, you know, they have the power to say, you know what, I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
I'm going to change, to make a completely life change, and to come to Portugal and to live like a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
And here I am, you know.
Oh, well, I did the same. I came to Portugal to rebuild, but I was rebuilding from already the foundation that was clear to me. As I said, I defined who I am at this stage. What do I want? Where do I get my energy? How do I want to live life? So I had a clarity, like what values do I want to step upon, right? What is
non-negotiable?
Non-negotiable for me, yeah, thank you. So I knew it, and I just wanted a fresh start. That's why I moved to Portugal. But Portugal itself is not, you know, many people have expectation. They just move to a new country and everything changes. It doesn't change on its own. The new country will not miraculously change your life or make you feel happier or better.
Even
right?
the worst, you know, like if you don't have clarity, it can
Exactly.
like there are people coming and they're expecting some things and they're like it's changing, but for the worst part.
Yeah.
But just to add here something, I was surprised of, like, not this specific networking event, but in general, I'm surprised of how many people they lack the clarity of, or I don't even know, like the lack of courage to say out loud what they actually need and what they want. And they're like, you know, keeping how you said yourself, like keeping myself in the comfort zone and being there, and you know, that's it. This is how your lives go on. And
I think, I love the word that you used here, the courage to say it, courage to acknowledge it, because it takes a lot of courage to acknowledge these things. Why? Because it means that I am going through change, and it means that if I acknowledge it, it means that now I have a choice to remain in the same state or
do something different.
And this agency, right, and this next step to do something, it's a very mature adult position, right, in life. So I have to take a step. Now it's my responsibility. And this scares people, because it means that my life will change. I will have to let go of things, right? I have to maybe invite new things to my life. I will need to learn new things, so do things differently. And it scares most of us because it's so much. It's so much. And plus we have expectations from people around, from the society. So I even have clients and conversations with my potential clients. Someone comes for a call with me and says, like, you know, I'm ready. I want to have a change. I want this. I know what I want. And then the person does not come back. And then after 2 months, she messages me. She says, you know, I'm finally ready. I get scared then. I realized that if I start working with a coach, right, it means that I will need to do things, but I was not ready back then. Now I'm ready. It's also about, you know, like, you know, just this knowing your energy, knowing, do you really have this strength and resources and courage inside to take this step? So it's so important to understand. It's so important to be honest with yourself, right? Like to have this self-compassion and have the honest talk, right? Like we are having, like look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey girl, like
wake up.
Wake up. Or even if you woke up or you want to wake up or you're already woken up, can you do it now? what do you need to make it happen, right?
What does it take for you to make it happen?
Yes, what does it take?
Exactly.
What is there that doesn't serve you? Like, what do you? It's like an old skin. What you have shed, right? What is there? So yeah.
Beautiful. Listen, I wanna ask you something because I'm following you on Instagram, and you have a beautiful story of inspiration. And talking about change and talking about, remember we started our talk today earlier on the way here, and I was like, it looks like everything happens for you. You're doing a lot. There's like a lot of things happening now in your life, like for the good, part. And I want to ask you, so how can somebody follow you? Where they can find you? How can they find about your work? Tell us a bit more, because I'm one of the followers and I get inspiration daily. There's a very beautiful way of like how you're sharing your story and your changes and your transformation.
Thank you very much for sharing. How can they find me? You can find me in Cascais in Portugal. It is somewhere in the ocean watching the sunset. Online. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram. I am on LinkedIn for those who prefer LinkedIn, and it's like a different thing. I have a website, and
so tell me. So on Instagram, it's your name, right?
It's Tania Timkova. But yeah, maybe we just leave the links.
Sure. We're gonna put. Yeah, we're gonna add, of course. Yeah.
I have a website, and I'm actually starting a kind of blog/community, but it's a very new thing that I'm, building silently, quietly, because it's a next step for me, but. Oh my God! It's the first time I'm speaking out loud about it, but yeah, I think I'm ready to try a different way, because like social media and Instagram it's a little bit. It's not the Instagram that it used to be, right? It's not the Instagram of 10 years ago. When I genuinely love sharing lived experiences, not from the position, look at me, I'm this is what I do, and this is what I've achieved, but. I just love integrating experiences and sharing it. And I used to do it a lot when 12, 15 years ago, when I started my the path of truth seeking, I called it, right? Like I left Ukraine, I went to live in Italy, South Africa. Then I was always trying to find my path. And I just shared it. I was writing those texts in imperfect English, but it was from the heart. And now I don't feel like... Instagram is the platform where I can keep on doing this. So I'm exploring the ways to get back to writing and to sharing, and also I love people and I love talking to people. I love uniting people. So this year is about community for me. So yeah, I think I will announce something soon.
Oh my God, that's exciting!
Yeah.
I would love to be part of that. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, sure.
Like, coaching me, I can't really just talk. I need to ask questions.
Yeah, sure. How much? We're out of time. No, I'm joking. How much?
No, we still have 5 minutes. I would ask you the same question that you asked me at the very beginning. If there was one thing, or, the most important thing of your motherhood experience that you would love to leave at the table, and the people listening to us, women who are listening, just to take away with them, what would that be?
Wow. So first of all, I have the book, 99 Mistakes I Made as a Mom and What I Wish I Knew. And it started like a journal, it started like something that I wanted to write, like a small thing. And it ended up in more than 400 pages because I had a lot of things to say about that. One thing that I would like, one mistake or something that I would... just enjoy it. I know it sounds like a cliche, but be present, be there. Don't be so judgmental with yourself. Get rid of that shame and guilt and everything. Bring yourself a lot of self-compassion, and treat yourself and prioritize yourself. Because I think we haven't spoken up about, you have to really put yourself on the first place. Always. If you want to be the best for your family.
Always.
my conclusion is, after writing the book, is that you can have more than 99 mistakes. You can have 1,000 mistakes and still have an amazing relationship with your kids. And this is what happened in my, I was thinking to write, instead of 99 mistakes, to cut and to put 99 lessons, because everything starts dramatic, but then at the end it has like a positive outcome, or like a positive, like what I understood and what was my lesson and how I switched it. And I think that it's very, very important. Even we are all, we're humans. We all make mistakes. We all like fuck up, and we think that we're gonna fuck up our kids, and we're gonna we're the worst moms in the world. And I always thought I'm not a good enough mom. And how my kids will come out and they will be, crazy, and they end up being, two amazing kids. Even with all the mistakes in the world, you can still have like a very strong relationship with the kid, a trust relationship, a love relationship. And that was more than one thing.
Oh, but it's so beautiful.
It's just difficult to say one thing. I think that the idea, though, is that we all imagine something. Mm-hmm. We all have like this perfect scenario. And then, talking about Instagram, there's like Instagram and reality. So for me, it was like before the pregnancy and after the pregnancy, before the kids were there and after the kids. We make ourselves like these images, and we think that we're going to be the perfect mom and cooking. And I think that one of like the chapters for me in the book that was really I thought that I would be perfect. I thought I would be like the 1960s mom, dressed like, dots, like making, I swear to God, I remember that I was in the fashion industry.
So cute.
And I would just come with the trays of food and cook for my kids and be the perfect mom. And no, it just, I do have other qualities, but cooking and being like the mom from the movie, it's not me. And I also imagine that my kids would be like in the milk commercials, coming there and dressed up in white and nodding and talking. And what happens is that you see the kids with like sauce on their white shirts and dresses, and fighting between them, who's sitting next to mommy, who's sitting next to daddy, the normal dynamics of a family. So definitely go with the flow, and don't let patterns and of your family, or like the perfection syndrome, take over.
The mess.
Enjoy definitely enjoy the messy experience.
Mm-hmm. Because this is real.
It doesn't get more real than this. Yeah.
Can I leave one last thought?
Yeah, yes. I wanted to ask you. We're wrapping up, and I wanted to.
It's not mine, but what you were sharing actually made me think about it. It's something that my dear friend Edith, if you're listening, thank you for that, because it stayed with me. She said it. She is a mom of 3 boys, and once we were talking about our ambitions and our growth and self-realization and businesses and whatever, and she said, I have these ideas and I have dreams and goals and everything, but the most important thing for me as a mom of 3 boys is just to be emotionally available for my kids. She says, no matter how much success I get in my businesses, in my ventures, I will feel the most successful if I'm emotionally available. And whenever they need a safe place to come and talk, to share their pain, their happiness, I will be there for them. And oh my gosh, I have goosebumps now saying this, but I took it as a life lesson as well, as her wisdom. I took it with me, and this is something, it's kind of a compass for me now as well. I try to navigate using it as well, like knowing like, is the other things that I'm doing, that I'm taking now, are they giving me enough space to be emotionally available, right?
Mm-hmm,
or as you said, putting yourself first. What can I do for myself to be present, to be emotionally available, to be emotionally stable for them?
Yeah.
And it always comes through me again, and I always have to put myself first. And this also helps a lot. You were talking about guilt and shame. It also helps a lot to work with these feelings now, like really do things for yourself, allow to do things for yourself, like nurture yourself, your inner self, nurture your feminine side, nurture your strong sides, your talents, your hobbies, whatever you like, what your soul desires. Know what your soul desires and do it for yourself, because this will make you feel happier, thrive, and as a consequence, you will be emotionally available, because, they need happy mothers.
It's true.
Happiness and motherhood.
Do you have any parting words, or Tanya, one last thing that you want to, how would you like to end this episode?
I'm grateful for the experience of motherhood, and and I'm trying to be grateful for every other experience in my life. And whatever I can take from this for myself, the most important is presence and gratitude. And these are, as we know, these are the elements that bring us very far and make us thrive and make us feel genuinely good. And this is what it's all about. We all came here to be happy, to feel joy, and presence and gratitude help us navigate any storm, and help us just enjoy life more. So this is it.
Thank you so much, Tanya. It was a pleasure, and the time flew. I don't know.
It just went like that.
It just went like that.
For a long time.
we're preparing another episode.
Episode number 2.
Episode number 2, part 2 for the motherhood. Yeah. I didn't ask you half of the question that I wanted to, but thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for just this genuine, beautiful conversation and sharing your wisdom. And sharing your wisdom with me here, with the listeners, and also with everyone else in the book. I'm looking forward to reading the book. I have it on my Kindle. I'm just really looking forward, because it's so powerful. And I think that mothers, women, and just people in general, we need more life stories. We need more lived experiences, right? So this is the best training that we can have. Just hearing other people out and checking in with ourselves. Does it resonate or does it not? So thank you very much for your work, and all the best with the book.
Thank you.